Just find your own voice led from within. So with me today, I'm with Amanda and Grant Morel. How are you guys?
Really?
we, we're laughing because we were talking about problems before we came to
I'm
live. We're like,
I'm
let's
laughing
just
because I
let's just put our problems together and make live.
I'm laughing because I sat down and I didn't actually hear you say we're going live, and the next thing we're just live. I'm like, oh, okay.
Sorry. How are you guys? Are you okay? Grant is Grant's birthday, guys. It was his birthday on Sunday, so he's still celebrating. Happy birthday!
Hey, thank
If you
you.
can send him a message, happy birthday, please do.
Thank you. Thank
So
you.
our topic today is why staying hungry and foolish is the secret to lasting success. If you ever felt like you started with fire, but somewhere along the journey you got tired, distracted, or discouraged, this message is for you because success doesn't usually disappear in one dramatic moment. Most of the time, it fades quietly when we lose our hunger, we start living to save. So, today on this topic, we are going to talk about why staying hungry and foolish is the real secret to lasting success. Not a hunger like desperation, but a hunger like discipline, purpose, relentless growth, and not foolish like careless, but foolish like bold faith, brave action, and the willingness to look crazy before the results make sense. I was listening. The reason why I chose this topic, I was listening to Pastor James yesterday. He said because all these pastors they have PhD, they have degrees. So he said when he decided to become a pastor, his family did not take him serious because it didn't make sense. Why would he has a degree, whatever? Why would he want to make a fool of himself? To them, he was making fool of himself. But now they're taking him serious because they've realized that he's serious about his goals, he's serious about where he's going, and he's successful. He's very, very successful. So now his family, they take him very, very serious. So what do you guys think about the topic?
I like it. I like it. You know, when you get serious, the world treats you seriously. I think it's as simple as that. I notice that all the time. Um, Again, it's strange you should mention this because last night I was talking to somebody about a friend I have. Um, but I knew this person many years ago in a different context, and that we get on better in this different context than we did. We never fell out, but just never really connected, if you know what I mean. Like years ago under a different context, but this time we really have. And it's why. And I said, I wondered if that person didn't really take me seriously all those years ago, you know, what I was doing. The world was a little bit more tightly buttoned in those days, you know, and it was, I just wonder if they didn't really take me seriously then. But the point is, when people see that you are serious about what you're doing, you've got to have an open mind to see that, obviously. But if people are open minded enough to see it and they see you're being serious, the world takes notice. And that's my thought. What about you, Amanda? What's your thoughts on today's subject?
Well, I like this subject because it's like that quote that says, "Those who are foolish enough to believe they can change the world are the ones who do." And I think that's part of that, like when you're like, okay, I mean, you're really focused and you're like, no matter what, you can block out all of the other things. Like I'm sure there's things that people have said Elon Musk would never achieve, but he's like foolish enough to believe that he can. And so he just hyper focuses and can achieve things that 20 years ago people would have never thought was possible. Right. And so when we think we're foolish enough, like he believes he can put people on the moon or sorry, on Mars, right? And so if he can, then that would be something that would be like that foolish enough to like lasting success is believing that you can, even when everybody else thinks that you can't. And so I think when we look at something like even when people leave like a career or something for some passion that they are really, really passionate about, we think that they're foolish until we see their lasting success, right? And we know that they're hungry and they're driven. And I know too, even when you have your own company, it's like people don't understand. They're like, see the benefits of being a business owner, but they don't see the like all of the workings behind it. And there's a reason why there's a certain type of person who runs a business and is really successful, whereas people who have like an employee mindset fail. And I think that's part of the thing that we like don't always see. And we like will look at them as either foolish, but it's like that lasting success is their drive and determination.
I like that, Amanda, when you say that sometimes like you make um example about the mass guy, whether you'll be able to take people, but he believes in his dream. And also, Grant, you say your friend, you wonder if your friend has, you didn't get on with your friends, you wonder, but now you get on, right? So you wonder if he ever believed in you. So that's what people they do sometimes when they don't believe in you. Um, Sometimes when they don't believe in your dreams, they mistreat you because they don't understand it. Or sometimes it's the way they feel about themselves. But if you are not carefully enough, you will end up dropping your dreams or your goals because you're trying to convince these people to understand. But sometimes it's nice to build to build your dreams and let people follow if they do follow, because sometimes the people might not understand what you're doing. They might not understand where you want to go, but you understand. I've learned that from Lisa Nichols. And when I was listening to her talk, she was saying, don't try, when you are creating your goals, you don't try to make people understand because people will not understand. They'll believe when they see that thing. But before it's being built, they will not understand it. So some people make mistakes that they end up stopping because they get hurt. They want people to understand. I've gone through it myself, but it's kind of funny now. I'm enjoying it, like just watching people trying to convince me not to do what I need to do. I find it exciting. You're muted, Grant.
People,
Grant, you're
people spend a
muted.
lot of time, a lot of effort to convince you not to do things. And you're like, wow, you put so much effort into that. Yeah, if they put that much
They
effort into doing
actually
something themselves,
Yeah, actually, sometimes I go for coffees. People invite me. I'm thinking I'm going for coffee, but I'm actually going to be told, Nomsa, don't do this. And I'm actually enjoying it now.
and it's not even something they're involved in. It's not like they've got sort of time or energy or money to lose. They're not even involved, but they'll put a lot of passion into telling you. And this is something that it's a speaker I'm going to go and see this month. And I saw him last year, a guy I kind of want to build a tighter relationship with. And he gave a great, he was running the course. He said, come along to it, whatever you do, come along, blah, blah, blah. And he said something which I've never really heard articulated quite the same way before. And I really like it. He said that I get it. You will find 1,000 really good reasons or 1,000 excuses not to come. He said, in fact, they're not excuses, they're genuine reasons. He said, and actually, some pretty good, sound reasons not to come. And I get that. He said, and the end result will be is you won't come and you won't learn this stuff. Not me personally, but he was saying, on a podcast or something. He said, you won't. He said, he said, but trust me, I've heard all the reasons over the years, all the reasons not to do something. He said, and they are some pretty good logical reasons that make a lot of sense why you shouldn't do things. He said, in all of his study of entrepreneurs and great people, despite all the good reasons not to do things, they somehow do it anyway and it works. And it makes no damn sense why it would work, but they just do it anyway. He said, and it just resonated with me so much the way he said it. I was like, you're absolutely right. Yeah, you try and take that one to a bank manager and convince him you're not gonna, because it doesn't make any sense. It's like, yeah, that's mad. Like, yeah, it is a bit, I know, but I'm kind of gonna go and do it anyway. And sometimes those crazy things pay off. And certainly in my life, my business, I kind of reserve, I call it a 10%. It's not an exact 10%, but a 10% of my time, money, resources into a bat ass shit crazy thing, which makes no sense whatsoever, because it's like, that's mad. Like, yeah, it might be, but I could afford to lose 10% of my time, 10% of my money, 10% on that, because if it does work, it will be fantastic. If it works, it probably won't, but I'm okay with that kind of thing. It's always worth having that in. I think even if you're in a business, you got the bright ideas, the good ideas, the logical ideas, and you absolutely should have them. But you should also have a little fund, trust, department, whatever, for crazy ideas, because sometimes they just pay off. So if I could encourage anyone to do anything, it would be to do something a little bit more crazy, a little bit more often. That's what I think.
I like that. I think sometimes too, when we like, even in my job, which my career, which is being a teacher, sometimes people ask me like, how'd you get the kids to do that? And I'm like, well, I didn't. I like
Ah,
let them explore something that they already were like successful in. And I remember like years ago, I did this project with iPods in the classroom, and we had like we borrowed these iPod sets from the district. And I wanted them to like record these spooky stories that they wrote, like using like their voices and sound effects and different things. And then I had one group be like, can we use GarageBand? And I was like, I don't really know how to use that. And I don't really know how to use the iPods that well either. But if you know how to use it and you can like do it, then go ahead and do it. And they created the most like creative play, and they like acted out their story that they did, and they had all these sound effects. And this one teacher that we like went and presented to, they're like, how did you get those kids to do that? Because this was like a rough school. And I was like, I didn't. I'm like, this was the requirements of the project, and they just had ideas and they ran with it. And I let them. And I told them I couldn't help them on like some of this tech stuff because I didn't know it that well. And so another teacher would have been like, no, you can't use that, right? And I'm like, well, you can try it, right? See if it's going to work. And if it works, like it could turn out really great. And it did. And I've had that happen like multiple times over my career, where I'm like trying some sort of new technology and I don't really know how to use it. And then I let the kids try it, and I tell them, I say, we're learning how to use this together. And so I'm not going to have all the answers. We'll try to search it up together. We'll try to find out the answers together. But like, I can't answer all of the questions on how to do certain things with this technology. I know we're capable of it, but I don't know all of the things we can do with it yet. And another teacher would look at that and be like, oh, I need to take a course and I need to do like all of these things before I try using this piece of technology. And it's like, no, you can learn a lot. You don't always have to be the expert. I'm like, I'm the expert in like the content of what I have to teach, not necessarily the expert always in like how they produce what their final products are, or how they navigate their learning journey, right? And whenever I'm teaching, I always try to think of like what sort of like end product will help them in real life, right? So if we are learning like interesting facts about something, it's like, then, okay, can we do a presentation? Can we create something then after we have this knowledge? What are we going to do with that knowledge? Because the doing is the part that's really important,
yeah,
right? And
yeah.
so much of school and the like base structure of school is like take in knowledge and then regurgitate it. And I'm like, no, that's not the purpose, especially now with AI and everything else. Right now, we need to take in the knowledge and then do something creative with it. What are you going to do with that knowledge once you have it? how is that going to shift your perspective of the world? How is it going to shift your perspective of history? How's it going to shift your perspective of how we understand math and like where I see using that math in real life? It's not just memorizing basic facts. It's how am I going to use those basic facts in real life, and where is that important, and why is learning this important, right? And so you have to be asking those like really deep questions. And some people would say like, well, it's foolish, like you're supposed to just like get the kids to like learn this information. I'm like, no, that's not the purposes of this at all, especially now when you can search anything on the internet in 2 seconds. Memorizing information is not important at all anymore, but being able to decipher through information, find out what's actually factual, or looking at opposing sides of something and deciphering it through yourself and realizing that the real truth is probably somewhere in the middle, is what's really important in understanding the world and how everything works and what is important about knowledge. Whereas 100, 300, 500 years ago, when they set up the school system, memorizing knowledge was really important because we didn't have access to knowledge at our fingertips, right? So when I think about foolish things, it's like, okay, how do we stay hungry and get people being creative, doing things, right? When we're doing things, that's when people get excited. Just blurting out memorized facts doesn't get you excited or have lasting success at all.
That's great. That is, I think you're so, yeah, it's the key point there is that things change, right? So therefore the priorities change. I think that's really important. And you made me laugh when you said, "Oh, so oh, you've done a course on this." And people get obsessed with just to do anything. You have to be an expert on something. It's what I call, the punk rock of anything. Where punk rock allegedly, lowered the bar to entry into music. And although I didn't really appreciate punk rock, I was really young at the time, but I kind of appreciate the concept behind it more now than I ever did, because it just says that you can do it. You can jump into these things and try it. And I'd like it for that. And I was talking, I like guitars and stuff. I used to be the band, and I was talking to my old guitarist the other day. I said, "Oh, about this guitar and that guitar and that, and this one's good." And he said something. He stopped me dead in my tracks, and it kind of made me laugh. He said, "Grant," he said, "just like you've got a couple of guitars already, which are fairly good." He said, "Like the idea is you just play them until they disintegrate. By that time,
Exactly.
by that time, you'll know what the right guitar for you is. And you can get it." And I was like, "Yeah, you're probably right, aren't you?" Yeah, yeah, yeah. You try to get the perfect one at the beginning. Like, you won't know what's right for you yet.
No. There's no such thing as the perfect one, Grant. You just
Right.
have to, yeah. Your friend is right.
Yeah, yeah.
And I like you, Amanda, as well, your attitude where you just teach the kids. Nowadays, we don't need to memorize. I can go to AI and AI will just give me something within a second. So why do you need to memorize it? And I think what is important is just staying hungry and just going for what you need, what you got to do in that moment in order to find success and getting rid of fear. Because when we talk about staying foolish as well, is be fearless, even though the fear is there, but knowing that this is what I need to do, and I'm gonna do it anyway. And when you teach the kids, it's like, I don't need to do this, I don't need to do that. Like myself, I needed to understand the language of marketing because I don't understand it. And everyone is using AI now. And when they come to you, these people, they charge you loads of money. There was someone who wanted to create a song for me. And I said how much through AI. And she was like, it depends with the whatever style you need. I can charge you 500 up to £500. But it takes like less than an hour to write a song with the AI and write it and create it and produce it. And I was like, So I had to go and learn. I knew I didn't have the skills. Amanda, I have your mindset. I just went and go and created it. Now I just create my songs. I don't have to pay that kind of money. So I think what is important is just knowing where you need to be and just be prepared to be foolish and just look foolish. Because even my pastor, Dr. Olukoya, everyone apparently keeps asking him, did you actually go to university and get a first class PhD to talk about God? And he's like, yeah, that's my passion. He went to did science, but now he combined that science. He is. He said that when he started, people thought he was a fool. But he has universities. He owns everything. You want the X Factor? X Factor is in my church. He's got everything. You want to do drama? Whatever you want to do, filming, he's in my church. He does everything. But because when he began, people thought he was being fooled. But it's not. If you believe in yourself and you have good people around you. Yesterday, I spoke to an insurance company because I wanted to do something. But then I realized that since I began my business, I have not had the right people. I thought I did, but then I thought I've not, some of the people that have been around my business, they have not been right. But I've learned something from that. So there's some things that I need to be foolish in order to do them myself. It's mostly these people that say, I'll do this for you all in one umbrella. But when things go wrong, you're on your own. So when I was talking to the insurance company, it was like, we have to investigate this. So I realized that, okay, things have gone wrong. They've affected me. But if he does the forensics, he will be actually investigating, helping them, not me, and which I might not even get to know the truth. So I was like, okay, thank you for explaining that. So now I'm just gonna I'm not gonna do it. So I realize that if I do go ahead with it, that will be me helping them, not helping my company only. So they were meant to compensate me, those people, but they didn't. So I had to realize that actually that's what life it is. So stay hungry always and foolish. And that's the secret to success. Me, people just insult me on social media. They say, Nomsa, we love your content. They love my content when I talk about what they want to hear. But actually, that's not what I'm there for on social media for. I have my followers that loves me so much, that love Ngozi talk shows. But mostly the people that complain is those that I grow up with, the family members, is those that I'm close to that want to make me feel that I'm not good enough to do what I do. But mostly is I don't remember like to say, I think there's 2 or 3 people in my family that support me. But the rest, even when I graduated, I don't know if you guys saw the comment, people were just trying to pull me down on my graduation day. So I think all you have to do, you have to know that, I don't know if you guys don't believe in God. For me, I believe in God. I'm always with God. I stay foolish with God and be hungry, knowing that I'm on my own with God, and then God will bring those who want me to succeed into my lane. Like you guys, the Tengosi talk shows, I know that you are no longer Ngozi talk shows coaches, you are part of the family. So it's those things that you know who your families are. Even when I'm talking to people and they're like, oh, Nomsa, we want to do this with Ngozi talk shows. I'm like, does it involve other people that I work with, or is it just me? And if it's just me, it's a thank you very much. For me, that's how I work. In Gossip Talk shows, it comes as a team. I don't come on my own. I'm not my own brand, unless if you want me to teach you something that I know. So that's the attitude that I have.
Good, good. Nice attitude. Nice attitude.
When you're coaching people and they're like most of the people that you coach, from what I understand, have their own businesses, right? And so do you have any like clients who are like foolishly hungry and then that actually has really like driven their success and have allowed them to have really lasting success in
The question was, what do I have any of them who?
do you have any specific like clients who when you first started working with them you were like wow you're like your ideas or something are almost like foolishly driven but then it actually like that empowered them to really have lasting success in the long run
Yeah, I
that
mean,
you try to
yeah,
or something
absolutely.
that
I've got
path than you expect.
so many different kind of clients. Ones who aren't empowered enough, they aren't driven enough, and ones who are insanely driven,
Mhm.
insanely. And it is one of the most important things to be driven. I mean, I had one. I can't even be as driven as them. I mean, they are. I mean, a maniac. You know, like a maniac. They really are possessed. Um, but there's more than one way to do this. I saw a interview this morning of some very successful entrepreneur, and I said to him about his focus. He said, "Oh, I'm not focused at all." I said, "You're not?" He said, "No, I've got terrible lack of focus." But he's still very successful. Yeah, he said if he was all hyper focused, we'd all be like Elon Musk. He said.
Mhm.
And there's not one way to do it. I mean, I can be surprisingly focused more than I think on things for a while. Um, and that's that. But then my mind does scatter, it does move around. It's good to focus. Focus is a really important thing, but I can focus for a limited, a given amount of time on a certain subject, and then I perform better by having a break and then going back. That's me. That's just me. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. There is no right or wrong. I don't think there
You're
is.
meant to have breaks, Grant.
What's that?
You're meant to have a break.
You are supposed to have a break.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You are. If I bring music into it, like one of the most successful albums of all time is the Beatles' Sergeant Pepper's album, right? Abbey Road, blah, blah, blah. And they really turned that into a huge concept. And they used to turn up with manuscripts and stuff like this. And this, got to think this is what's 1967. And they turned up and they said, how did they do it? They said they approached it like a job. They had tea breaks, lunch break, coffee break. They did that. Morning coffee, afternoon tea. They had the breaks. And that's how they just, stop now, we do that, and then we go back to it. There might have been moments where they push through, but that's the way. And other people do it differently. I mean, Ulysses Grant, the American Civil War general, is an interesting character because, a great military success, right? Not when he started, it wasn't. In fact, his name isn't really Ulysses Grant. In fact, when he went to the recruitment when he was like 14 years old, they said his name, and the recruitment officer didn't hear correctly and wrote it like back to front, the name or something. He was so shy, he didn't even correct the recruitment officer. So his name stuck as that, but it's like it might be Ulysses Grant, it might be Grant Ulysses or something like that. And like, that was a general? That was a general who was too shy to correct. Yeah. And he was in the military for a while and was like useless and got thrown out of the military. He was useless. And then went back to farming or something. Please, I'm paraphrasing the story terribly. And then he went back the second time, or the Short Commission didn't come out. It was kind of okay, but nothing special. Third time, something really stuck, and he became a world-class general. Now, so focused was he that when he'd be in his tent at night looking over the strategic maps of the battle, he'd be hunched over, so focused looking at them like that. If he got up to get something from the other side of the room, he would get up and his back would still be hunched. and he'd walk over to them and come back, so that when he sat down, he was in exactly the same position, so he could go back right to where he was. And people observed that's how incredibly focused he was. Um, is that right? Is it wrong? It worked for him, is the thing. But I think there's something like in today's title about staying hungry. If you're hungry, you have a weird possession to understand this thing. Like success is my thing. I love understanding success. And again, success is however you want to define it. But what is success? And I've been looking at this one way or another since I was 14 years old. And I remember my first conversation about it was in the car. And it was kind of with my uncle, actually, talking about these things. And that's kind of where I started the quest for success. And hungry is an important thing when you're what I call quietly discontent. Not unhappy. I don't mean unhappy, but you kind of got this inquisitiveness, this kind of prodding. Um, and I'm aware that sometimes I'll be out in public and I'll be just looking at people. And if someone catches you, it might make them feel uncomfortable. Oh, sorry, I'm intrigued by people, and I'm trying to figure them out all the time and looking like, why did they do this? What is that? That's unusual. What made you wear that? Oh, that's an interesting body. I'm just, I'm exhausted when I come home because I've been looking at people. I'm quietly discontent with humans, looking at them, trying to figure them out all the time. So I'm hungry for that. But and it can be foolish. You're what I could call like delusional belief in something can be very successful. If you have, like I'm going to be, I saw the document I filmed the other day about Eddie the Eagle. Eddie, do you remember in the 1980s, there was a guy who went for the Olympic ski jump, a British guy called Eddie the Eagle. Not the most talented skier, right? Not the most talented skier in the world by a long chalk, okay? They thought it was a bit funny. He didn't really fit in with the team. He didn't even make the first jump. He wasn't any good. And they're like, bit of a dreamer, this guy is a bit like stupid. He's a bit like, he's an ordinary guy. He's not like a typical sporty, but he's like, no, I want to do it. You haven't got the money to borrow money from everywhere to do it. His mum believed in him. His mum, bless him, believed in him. And he got all the money together and he went. I said, well, yeah, that's good. You did all right, but like you haven't even made the qualifying ability. Like, well, how do I do that? And I said, well, you're a long way off. You're not going to get it. Said, well, yeah, but how? How do you do it? And he did, and he just about makes the qualifying jump. And then it carries on like that. And in the end, boom, he sets new British records. And he wasn't naturally the most talented person. My God, was he driven, though. My God, was he driven. Right? So drive can take you a long way. Enthusiasm is a thing. I mean, I was watching music last night and I was watching someone play music and some people I liked, and some people I didn't particularly like their music, but I was compelled to watch them because they did it with such damn conviction.
Who was that, Grant? Who were you watching?
Music, people playing music.
What's the name of the band?
It wasn't a band, it was a person. I don't even know who they were. Don't even know. There's lots of people on and off. It's like fast, yeah. And maybe I'll find another time. But I'm not going to say, hey, yeah, I didn't like your music. I'm going to put that on here. Yeah, I don't like their music. No, but the point is conviction.
Yeah.
I think it was Alice Cooper once that did a series on TV, How to Make a Hit Song, and all these various people, top people, performing how to make a hit song. And he said it's really kind of simple. You get something that you're really, really focused on. Something you either really love or you really hate. It's a protest song or something. You get that and you sing it. He said, and you sing it like you effing well mean it. He said, that's how you do it. You don't do it politely. No one's going to pay attention to that. You do it, you're banging the desk, you're screaming it, you're singing. That's when people will take notice. And that's when they know you're serious. He said, that's how you make a hit song. And that was his view. And I thought, that's kind of interesting. And it is, I thought of this last night. This guy was singing this song. It meant something to him. and he sang it with such passion that I thought it eluded me to think that it must be better than I was understanding, because he sung it with such conviction. So I know somebody else in business, and a lot of people don't particularly like this person in what he does. He's a sort of therapist. Not people don't like him. I'm not going to say the name, but they don't like him. But and we're like, I can't understand why someone thinks he's good. I came to the conclusion, I think I know why. If this person has one quality that other people can benefit from, it's this: he has delusional belief in his ability. Delusional. He's pretty good, but he's not fantastic. But he thinks he is the best in the world, bar none. And he really isn't. But he believes it, and it attracts certain people because some people buy into it. He has delusion. So it was said to me once that when he tries it, and he's got no fear. So a new technique or something will come, and he'll try it, and he'll do it first of all when it's pretty bad, and he'll go, "That's quite good, wasn't it? That was quite good." And like, oh, really? Yeah. And they'll go, do it again, and you're like, "Oh man, that was fantastic!" And you're like, that was okay. That was just about okay. Next time, go, "Oh, world class!" No, that was quite good. And that's it. His delusion will springboard him onto doing it again and again, and in the end, it becomes pretty damn good at it. It's weird, Like a technique I learned from my coach years ago was, when you come off stage, you'll always get that person who wants to give you some feedback. And it's normally the person with a significance need, the person who once did something similar to what you did, and they haven't done it for a long time and they miss it and they want to be recognized. Them people. I ended up having a conversation with someone like that yesterday, very old character. And when you come off stage, they'll want to give you advice and feedback. Invariably, they want to tell you what you did wrong. So the best thing you could say at that point is, yeah, I'd love to get your feedback, not just now, if that's okay. Because you're on a high, you've done something good, you should bask in that. It's important. Don't
Me normally is the thank you. I normally thank the person because normally when someone comes off stage, they say something that makes you question yourself.
Yeah, that's right.
So
But the
the
object,
only thing you can do is to say thank you,
yeah, thank you. Yeah.
not to find something that they said wrong. They said wrong. I said to this guy once when I think it was Andy Harrington's events. And this guy, he kept finding things wrong with it. I was like, if you are here to criticize the guy, go and sit somewhere else. I need to write it down and I need to listen because I don't really know these things. So I don't want, so he's like, oh, he's doing these emotions to make us buy his stuff and stuff. I was like, no, he gives free stuff for free and then you buy things, but go somewhere else, disturbing me.
These times are a boot camp. So if you go to a boot camp, that's what you'll get. You'll get drilled. You'll get drilled, which is a great way to learn, actually. Great way to learn. But yeah, there's different strokes for different folks. But yeah, it's like a lot of people ask, how do you want feedback? How do you want it? Do you want it straight in your face? Do you want it kind of like in the middle, or do you want it really soft and gentle? And
Really hard.
yeah, if you want it hard, you'll get there quicker. You will get there quicker, but you'll get a few bruises along the way. It's however you want it. I'm probably not somewhere in the middle sort of guy, but yeah, a lot of people. I'm quite, I think, thoughtful when I give feedback to people. Um, but yeah, there's a skill in giving feedback, but it does depend on their appetite for feedback. Some people just, I mean, I will tell you now that the person I got the most results for in my coaching ever was a guy who told me point blank, kick my butt. He said, don't take no BS, man, kick my damn butt. And I said, all right, you want it like really straight in the face? He said, okay. And I did, and he got incredible results. I mean, he got a 4,000% return on investment in 4 weeks. Yeah. Yeah, incredible. And I'm not saying that's normal, because that is not normal. But he got that. Yeah, bang. He didn't even finish the training. I still owe him some sessions. He said, "Ah, don't worry about it." He didn't need it. He got what he needed. It was someone else, isn't it? Yeah, he'd done it. Incredible guy. In fact, I messaged him the other day. Yeah. Boy, did he, no ego, and took action immediately. Really, the success was him. He has successful traits, and that was it. No ego. All he wanted was success. He was willing to pay for it. He didn't even have the money. Didn't even, and he said at the time he took his credit card out and he said, "I may as well spend this on you because it's going to go anyway." And that always struck me as a really interesting viewpoint. No, people don't normally say that, but he said that. I didn't ask him to say it. I didn't say anything to prompt him to say it. He just said it. And I thought that's really smart thinking because it will go. That money will go somewhere. It will go. It's like water. It's going to go somewhere. But where's it going to go? Somewhere appropriate. And he said, "I'll spend it on you, but please kick my ass." And I said, "Okay." And I did. And boy, no ego, none whatsoever, no pushback, no challenging. He took it, he completely bought in, he surrendered himself to it, and implemented immediately and got immediate results. Really good. Really. So there, if you want to look for some successful traits, please adopt that. Please adopt that. Not from me, but from him. It was great. So done that with my coaching, outstanding results. Yeah. But it is the way you approach things. Like we said the other week about taking the rubbish out, taking the trash out. If you do it begrudgingly, but if you do it willingly, how lucky I am to take this out and got people come and collect it for me. And I can feel, the rain on my face, how nice it is. And my hands are slushy, but I can go and wash them with hot water and soap, how lucky. If you do it with gratitude, the outcome's so different. It really is. Yeah. Do that. But yeah, staying hungry and foolish, delusional, if you will, can be a secret to lasting success because that then springboards you on. It gives you the enthusiasm to do it again. And you don't feel your energy depleted. It's been supercharged by doing that. And I think that is why I think today was a great subject. And I think there's a lot of good lessons for people out there. But only if you put them into practice. Not if you write them down and, I'm clever, I know the answers. That ain't going to do anything. That's going to do nothing. You put it into practice. It is, as Amanda said, it's in the doing. It's in the doing.
Yeah, it 100% is in the doing. Like you're doing it no matter what, and you're
Yeah.
the one that's going to do something when everybody else tells you that you can't or that it's stupid or whatever. It's that doing piece that's so important. That I think that's where schools fail. And it's true because we're just like, okay, regurgitate information. It's like, no, like what are you going to do with that information? That's important. How is it going to impact the world? That's what we need to see more of. And that's almost like foolish lasting successes in the doing, not just the knowing. It's the doing piece that's so important. And I'm sure you see that with your clients, Grant. I'm sure you've seen that with your clients, Nomza, in the dating world. Like it's that doing that's so often we get stuck in. And I think part of that is because in school, it's just regurgitate this information, write the test. It's not like, what are you going to do with that information? That's important.
I had my clients the other day, Amanda, getting me on TikTok. And she was like, "You're on these other platforms, but you're not on TikTok." I thought she was going to leave me alone. She always trying to get me on TikTok. But then I'm talking to her, I'm realizing she's not going away. So I was like, okay, let me get on it now. So I had to sort out my account while she was on the other end. And then I went to AI and I said, design me a professional banner for TikTok. So then I said to her, it's on now. She was like, okay, sure. And then she left me alone. Otherwise, she wouldn't let me alone. She said, Nomsa, your talk show on Twitter, I follow it. Get on TikTok and then think about it later how you're gonna get your talk show on TikTok. But for now, have an account at least. She
Right?
wouldn't leave me alone. So then after I created an account, I said, these are the kind of people that you need in your life that pushes you to do something.
I always say you want to surround yourself with people that talk about like doing things, not people that talk about other people, right? And so,
Yeah, yeah.
who
And I
are
liked your TikTok, Amanda. You're doing really well there, posting all the time. I like it. I was impressed, actually. That's not what I expected.
thanks. I try to post once a week is my goal kind of for that.
I was like, this girl, she always says she's thinking about what she wants to do, but she's actually doing something. I was really impressed. Well
You
done.
have to take, even when you have a full-time career, right? If you have other goals, it's like, what step can I take each week, even if it's just a little step, to like go towards my goals, right?
Yeah.
Might not get there as fast as Grant's client that did a 4,000% increase in, what did you say, like weeks?
4 weeks,
Yeah,
4,000% in 4 weeks.
but I'll get there
And it
slowly.
wasn't by doing more, it was by doing less.
Yeah, interesting.
Doing less, chucking things away and utilizing certain things you hadn't utilized.
Yeah.
Yeah, and going for it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
There's infinite possibilities out there. Infinite possibilities, infinite resources, if you know where to find them. I spoke to one of my old mentors a few months ago, and he went to support one of his clients who's into funding in a big way. And he said he went to fund. He said, there's people with millions and millions to give away for the right project. If you tick the right millions and millions, they want, it's their job to give it away
Mhm.
if you hit that criteria.
Yeah.
It is, it really is. If you haven't got it, you can
You
join.
put that out to the world, you'll attract it, right? If you wanted to
Yeah,
attract funding in, if you put that out and you're taking steps towards it, those people will be drawn to you.
yeah. But you got to do it with passion. You've got to articulate it in a way that, well, this is an interesting point. For yourself, as Lisa Nichols says, no, you haven't got, no one else has got to understand it. If you want investors, oh yeah, they have got to understand it. That's different. You have got to communicate it in a way they'll understand it. That's a different thing. If you're doing it silo, no one needs to understand. So it depends where you are. So sometimes I look at, this is why I help people make business maps, not business goals, because the terrain changes. But if you're going to a bank, they don't speak that language. So I had a client who struggled with certain numbers and things, and
Mhm.
said, I don't like it. You do? I said, no, I don't. I hate it, but I do it. And I said, do you not know I'm quite holistic? And I said, really? Oh, I'm holistic. I'll meditate and manifest. I said, you do? Like, oh, yeah. But still, I look at the numbers, because if I communicate with certain groups of people, they're not interested in manifestation. They'll think I'm cuckoo. They'll only want to look at numbers. So if I'm going to have a conversation with them, I've got to talk numbers. Then they'll listen. Or
I
they
would think
won't.
I'm
They
cuckoo.
can't see it. So you've got to know how to have different kinds of conversations with different people, right? That's it. I might go back. I mean, nothing. I mean nothing that I've achieved in my life. Nothing have I not visualized first.
Mm.
Everything's been visualized. And people say, can you visualize it? Oh, I'm a past master on that one.
Mhm.
That I can do. I can do. I do that all the time naturally. Even before I was taught to do it, I was doing. I've been doing. I never stopped dreaming since I was a kid. My life's been a dream. It really has. But sometimes you have to put some structure, some scaffolding around those dreams, and that's when it really works. And if you like, I'm doing a joint venture with, one of the ladies of The Secret, and the thing about The Secret was there were some things that in that there's more structure to it than it really came out in the movie.
Mhm.
That there is a lot more to it. Yeah. So when you actually make effort, that's it. Yeah. You've heard the joke, right? About I want to buy a ticket. I want to win the lottery. I want to win the lottery. I want to win the lottery. And the person prays, please make me win the lottery. And nothing happens. Right? So goes back again, prays, please. Like last week, I asked you to help me win the lottery. You did. Maybe you're busy. Can you help me win the lottery? Nothing. Keeps going on like this, and eventually God speaks to the person and says, I heard you. I heard your prayers all along. He said, I'd like to help you win the lottery. but meet me halfway. At least buy a ticket first. Yes, you have got to make some effort. Yeah. And that's when it really works. When you manifest, when you visualize, when when you share that vision with people, but you've got to make some effort. You've got to make some effort, some tangible.
Me, I visualize
That's when the rubber meets the road. So.
me, I have the vision of what my life is gonna look like, but I don't tell people. I tell people when it happens, and then they look at me, they say you're crazy. It will never happen. I'm like, it has.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, how did you do that? Because the people will never believe when you do things. My father taught me that. He's a teacher. He's bonkers. He was bonkers like Amanda. And I watched one of the videos actually on YouTube. This guy was saying, if you want to learn to create goals and do whatever you want to do, hang out with the teacher. And that's how I understood Amanda, and I understood my dad. Oh yeah, let's just we live together. We live together. Amanda has to go, guys, so we all have to go. If you're watching the talk show, guys, from any other platform, please do subscribe and come to the website as well for coaching. We're not free coaches. We need clients. Please, if you have anyone, share the video as well with your families.
Don't need too many.
Yeah, and we have two groups, Unique Billionaire Mindset and Gossip Talk Shows. And I'll say it again, no one is joining Gossip Talk Shows. People are joining Unique Billionaire Mindset group. You can join both, guys. Do you guys have anything to say?
Be hungry.
Yeah, hungry
Understand.
and foolish.
Understand. This is something I was thinking yesterday. It's understand what drives you, because to be driven is really important.
Yeah.
So understand, everybody, what is it in your life that drives you to do things? What are your drivers? Find out what they are, tap into them, and find something that aligns with that, because then that will be a great way to get started and to make progress quicker. Find out what your drivers are, work with them, succeed faster. That's it.
Live with grace, everyone, and God bless. Amanda, anything to say?
I was just going to say that consistency of showing up for yourself too is so important. Is like make sure that you're showing up even when you feel like not showing up. Keep showing up, because that's the secret to success. Is that consistency piece is so, so important, and that drive to get up and do it even when you don't want to.